Hey everybody, this is Jeff Vegetable Gardening Containers. This shouldn't be too long of a video, I'm hoping. It's really going to be about our harvest we had today. It's August 6th today. I did pull a couple yellow squash off here. Purple potatoes are growing good. This plant's coming back, this cucumber plant. I got 2 or 3 growing on there now. I picked this one dry, probably 6 or 7 big Romas off there in the garden. We did a tomato and potato harvest today. So let me show you what we ended up getting out of here. And our potatoes I wasn't exactly too excited about. I mean, these here, the Yukon spuds, biggest ones I've ever grown. I mean, they're just phenomenal size. Growing great. I didn't plant a ton of those this year because normally in past years, these red ones and these purple ones, for some reason, grow better in containers around here. And the red ones did okay. Not what I expected, but they did okay. But you see so many of them that were undeveloped there. So I'm not too keen about that. But and the purple ones only had one little 5-gallon jug of them, so that's okay. But I mean, for as many containers as we emptied, if I look back there now, there's one had nothing in it. I should have known that, but I just emptied it to make sure. I think there might have been 12 seed potatoes cut in half, or whatever. But for 12 seed potatoes, we more than 5 or 6 times our effort. That's okay, and I'm all right with the size of some of these. It's just that to me, it's just. They're great. I mean, I'll just put them in some, wash them off a little more, put them in a little oil, put them on the stove, fry them up, a little bit of cheese, and they're delicious. I don't have a problem with it. It's just, I'm a little disappointed in the size of them this year, but our first harvest had a lot more, not as many, because we only had 92 potatoes there. Even if I didn't count them small ones there that are right there, I would say we got 150 or so potatoes here that are decent size or more. So it's definitely a better harvest, but not what I was expecting. The bigger pots were fine. What I got out of bigger pots I did expect, so I'm pretty okay with that. But the smaller pots I just wasn't too excited with, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to show you the rest of this harvest. It looks like we got some nasty storms possibly coming over. These, my wife went through and did a harvest on the tomatoes. You see she got one decent sized bell out of there. A couple jalapenos, a couple squashes coming back. This is a spaghetti squash. A couple more cucumbers still coming in, which is rare for this time of the year, but I've done a couple adjustments this year compared to other years. Some mint and some arugula and stuff like that. Just some cherry tomatoes in here, and then she had some black cherries here too. So, I mean, she had a good little setup there where we got that all out of there. What you can see, so I got to get this in before it gets too dried out here. The big thing is when you're sometimes when you're in your garden, like I told you earlier, this year we were in a drought from, mid-April through mid-June. We had absolutely no rain. Had to put a irrigation system back out there. It was working good. Everything was growing. We were producing. We were right where we had to be. And then the weirdest thing, about mid-July, I guess, maybe around mid-July, all the way to now, it's every other day there's a rainstorm. And then we had heavy rains. And the last I checked, in the month of July, it was either 12 or 14 inches of rain we had. And I would say in August already this year, we've probably had 2 or 3 inches. So I kept saying, man, we need rain, we need rain. Then I'd shut my sprinklers off, but like I told you before, vegetables absolutely love water and the vitamins you give them and the minerals and all the stuff you want to give them to keep going. But they can't stand being in water. And if you look at those pots, every pot I got, especially the potato ones or the cloth ones or anything, they got massive, 3/4 inch holes drilled all in them so that they can't hold the water. And normally what happens is I can't keep up with the watering when it gets to be hot summer here in Zone 7A, and I can end up flooding them, and it doesn't matter. They dry right out in a day or two. But I'll be honest with you, this year, I've shut everything off. It just rain. And so the big thing I think that affected, it actually helped the tomatoes this year. I had tons of tomatoes last year, but a lot of them had spots on them and were getting a little weird. It helped the corn this year real good. But, yeah, and the beans and the squash and the zucchini in the first part of the year, when we started getting rain, it was real good for everything. But the potatoes, the barrels were still soaking wet, and I was very surprised that they were that wet this year. So I got to clean the garden, get rid of some of the stuff that's starting to die in there, like the corn. It's all picked through. I got to get rid of that. Some of these tomato bushes are starting to go. They're through their part of this season. And I told you I got a ton of these. I don't want to leave those over there in the rain. A ton of these sweet potatoes to do. And you see these cucumbers here. I picked some real nice ones off right there, and they're starting to flower a little more, but they're pretty much getting into the dead zone. Lasted a lot longer than they have in the past few years, so I'm happy with that way. But I got some growing up by the house, so I'm not too annoyed by that because I got it. But as I've said in many videos, and I'm not trying to preach right now, but I had a feeling this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. And I knew it going into this harvest it was going to happen. But sometimes you don't like to admit it totally. But too much rain, too much moisture is just a killer for your garden. So this year, it kind of kicked my butt. It's too much rain. So, but we did all right. I mean, so far this year, we've done very good. But I don't think my August will be that good, but I might be surprised. July ended up being okay. June was great. May was okay, but and we're still doing it for early August. I just don't think there's much left of the garden that's going to be kicking butt here soon, except for sweet potatoes and the tomatoes that are left, and a couple of these cucumbers and squashes and stuff that I replanted and put fresh plants in where they might come back. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. We're crossing our fingers for that the water don't affect the sweet potatoes, because for a lot of slips, they've been in for a while. They're starting to change color, but I'm going to wait until September to pull them. But I've had a tremendous amount of success with potatoes and sweet potatoes the last couple of years. So still had success this year with the potatoes through the winter. I mean, I even grew them in the greenhouse through the winter, and they were good when I took them out. And the spring, and I'm going to put some more in here soon, and give them 2 or 3 months, and in the greenhouse I'll pull them out in the winter. Do the same thing, it just keeps you kind of busy. So I'm not too worried. It's just this harvest here just wasn't too excited about because of too much moisture. All right, guys, we'll be back with you soon. Don't forget, we're at the Jeff's Vegetable Gardening in Containers on YouTube, Jeff's Gardening Tips on Facebook, Jeff's Gardening on Instagram, and at Jeff's Vegetables at Twitter. And keep up with us. Hey, if you get a chance, like and subscribe and share the videos. Thanks, guys. See ya.